Welcome to today's video where we're doing a website lookover of the menopauseeffect.com website. Now, the Menopause Effect site is a project I started several years ago with a friend, but then we both got really busy and the site was badly neglected for a couple of years. But it refused to die, so I'm now looking at ways to revitalize it and then grow it as a source of revenue. Hi, I'm Trudy Rankin from Online Business Liftoff, and I've brought in Jacob Jacobson, founder of CloudWorks. He's here to give his expert feedback on what's working and where improvements could be made. Jacob has helped countless businesses refine their online presence, and today he's taking a first-time look at this site built by complete amateurs, me and my friend, to offer some valuable insights. I'll recap the 10 points he makes at the end, so make sure you stick around to catch that. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, Trudy, I'm looking at the menopauseeffects.com, and if viewers are watching on YouTube, they can probably see it or they can pop it up on their own device and follow along. But tell us about this project.
Yeah, so this project originated out of almost a personal need. Way back in the day, menopause is a natural part of life for women and women who are assigned female at birth. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. And you get to the point where your hormone levels start to change. And it really does change the way your body operates, the way your mind thinks. And back in the day, nobody talked about it. Nobody said anything about it. And so many women start to experience symptoms and they don't realize that it's because of menopause and they feel like they're going crazy. And so when I was going through menopause, I had quite a tough time about it. And so afterwards, or even all through it, I met another person who was working with me on another project who basically had the same experience. And she said, let's put together a website that's going to help women and women who are assigned female at birth actually recognize what they're going through, figure out what they can do to minimize the impact of the menopause symptoms, because they can be quite severe, and then see if they can find out what other women have been doing to help them get through this period of time. And then what's next? What's that next phase of life? How can you make it really great? And so we put this together as a project. We were doing it to try and build our skills. You'll notice that there's very few pictures, images, people in the front part of it, because it was like, we don't know if we really want to have our faces plastered.
Yeah, sure.
But later on, as you get into it in the blog and in the about section, there's pictures and things like that. But this was an experiment, and it's been an experiment that I've continued using. There's a quiz that goes with it. Quizzes are my specialty. And we basically used it as a way of learning, but also of helping people. And so there's obviously an email newsletter that goes with it. And I've been using it as a test bed for learning how to build up a website to the point where it is monetizing well enough so that if I wanted to sell it, I could sell it.
Yeah. Well, that's when you talk about niching and trying to focus on a specific area of people that you can serve. In one sense, it's a broad audience. In another sense, it's this unique angle that, like you say, I don't know how many people are really talking specifically about menopause. And I'm sure as you're looking for available.com names when it comes to menopause, there's probably not a ton of competitors out there who are trying to dive into this, at least from the perspective that you are. What would you think? Is it okay if I click on this call to action right now and just pop open the quiz?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's pop this open here. Yeah, okay. This is the right place. Okay, so I'm on the domain here, and then the quiz is embedded in the page. And then here I am able to answer questions, it looks like. And one of the things I was curious about is I'm staying here on page within the site, which I think is great. So let's go to the homepage for a moment. Okay, so this might be something to consider. Oftentimes I do see you have a home link here. May consider making this logo clickable as well, because you can see my default reaction was to click there to go home. You've also got this resource. Something to consider here. It may be that there's an image or a resource not loading, and I could take a peek at that. But it seems to me like there might be a opportunity for a visual here, possibly where it says be part of the sisterhood. Is there supposed to be an image here?
There is definitely supposed to be an image there, and it's not loading, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. And so that might be something to look at. What I'll mention here is across the top, I'd be looking for some alignment, maybe with this logo to be in alignment here with the menu options. And this is probably, if I'm guessing, a full width image across here. And then we've got be part of the sisterhood. And yeah, I was guessing there's probably even some text. It's just in white. Something to consider here, I think I would probably maybe flip these. So I would say the menopause effect established 2018. And I think I would capitalize effect and maybe make this text even larger. And I would probably capitalize sisterhood. And I think I would consider with this language be part of the sisterhood. When I see be part of the, I might consider either join the sisterhood, or if people aren't sure that they're ready to make that level of commitment, see what the sisterhood is all about or learn more about the sisterhood. So I would either simplify this be part of with the word join and go from 4 words down to one, or I would give people an invitation to see what it's all about, capitalizing probably the word sisterhood here. I think with this image loading, it'll have a much stronger effect. And that's not uncommon when we go to check out a site, even with a small business owner, to have little surprises that bubble up. I was mentioning this to Trudy. Sometimes as part of the process, we'll just take folks through their existing resource and just in a non-judgmental way, but in a curious way, ask what decisions led to the product that they've got now as it relates to their web presence. And oftentimes it relates to the way they see themselves as an organization. Sometimes this organization may have been around for several years, and the way they see themselves or the way they've grown and served their members or their customers or the way their organization has grown has been the reason to want to update the website, because 4 years ago, this is how they saw themselves. Now the business is serving a different sector of the marketplace or serving in a greater way with new offerings. So a lot of times when I'm looking at a website, I'm actually have the opportunity to look at an organization's culture and DNA and see the way that they're serving their customers. As we scroll down, I really like the icons right here. I think that can be really helpful to pick up icons that go with the concept. I think maybe this sharing common ground, I think this is maybe multiple people and the stories, it looks like maybe a person with a balloon or a kite. I think I would even just go just the balloon or just the kite or something, or just a comment or dot. I think because the icons are small, I think they're nice, but I would maybe just do a different element that's a little easier to see when it's like 80 pixels, 60 pixels. But for me, the emotion or the feeling that I get is, okay, this is something that's simple. It's definitely got the grassroots feel to it. This is not corporate. And sometimes that's a really nice perspective to have when it's a personal topic like this. And I really like the illustration throughout. So I actually really like the fact that it's airy, that it's white, that it's got room to breathe. And sometimes you can get overwhelmed with these big hero images on every section and sliders and motion and animation. And if you want to go more white and airy, Trudy, what you've done here, actually having some little illustrations that blend with the background, but they also serve to give it some border and shape so everything is not floating away from itself. If you want to have this type of feel with the lighter backgrounds, these hand-drawn illustrations, or a lot of times people think that it has to be a photo. Sometimes more of an illustration gives you a lot more flexibility without having to find that perfect stock photo. And it actually works better oftentimes when you try to find a stock photo with a white background. It feels even more stock. It jumps off the page like, oh, this is really a stock photo, even more. But illustrations really help with that white background. So I like what you've done here. I would tend to think as we've gone farther down the page, so generally I saw more of the pink here. I like that. There is some blue and yellow that starts to come in for variety. For me, then it gets a little darker blue here, and on these things here, the call to action and the slider, I think I would consider maybe staying in that pink lane if that's a color that works for this organization. I think this is fun to have those different layout of photos. And then again, down here at the bottom, I like just the subtle effect here where again, we're putting a little shape, that little light gray, just to give us some divider section that says, hey, we're getting near that footer. I would go probably that pink color, maybe a little stronger on the font weight here on contact us. I would maybe give a little pop of color pink here potentially as well. Same thing here. I would tie in the color there. And then it looks like this is a lead magnet. So let me pop this open. Okay, so that's taken us perhaps to the quiz. Maybe it's different. The infographic, is that different than the quiz?
If they do the quiz, they get the infographic.
Got it. Okay. So if you get the quiz, if you do the quiz, you get the infographics. Yeah, there might be an opportunity to make that clear. Take the quiz and receive our infographic. when I clicked this, I was expecting maybe more of an email address to unlock a resource, was how I was reading this at first. Yeah, I think as I get near the bottom, to me, this element was making me feel like I was near the footer. And then the same thing here on this element. But then I see there's a few more pieces like blog articles. I think I would consider pushing these maybe a little higher up the page, somewhere in this element here where people can scroll through the content. I wouldn't mind even having recent articles maybe in this range, or you might consider what's the site all about? Maybe you have the one sentence version or one paragraph version, and then maybe the 6 paragraph or 5 paragraph version becomes a separate page, and maybe you get some of those articles up a little bit higher. To me, I think the amount of text might be a little bit more than just the quick snapshot, but I think this is about right here, and then see more about why we exist and getting those blog articles up here. I think that would be a good piece. I wouldn't mind dressing these up a little bit with maybe instead of read more, it can still say read more, but maybe this is a pill-shaped button or a round rectangular button to match this, just to make it pop a little bit more, that action.
Yeah.
And then I think the affiliate disclaimer, I think one way you can make this take up a little bit less space vertically would just be getting this full width, 100% left justified. So this might be all in one line, just so that way horizontally it takes up a little bit less space. And then, yeah, I think the blue here works at the bottom. I think I would just maybe stick with the pinks throughout, including some of these icons. But I think generally I can tell the atmosphere of what you've captured here. Sometimes this can happen. I like this, where again, it's not necessarily a photograph, it's more of an imagery, artistic illustration. I think that helps. And this would be a great place, I think, to talk more about some of the things that were on the homepage. And again, with this darker blue header, I think this actually really works. And I think that's part of what I was missing on the homepage. I would consider making this a little bit shorter, And I can see that for whatever reason, the contact option is bumped down to the next page. But generally, I do like these, the white with the gray, with the illustrations and the color. I think the coloring is there. And I think there's some little opportunities along the way. Maybe you tie this into your color scheme, unless this is an accent. I don't think it's the same accent color from the dragonfly. I think that could be your pink. But I like these pages again, where it doesn't have to be your face. It doesn't have to be someone, doesn't have to be the poster of menopause. It just gives you the opportunity to have some visuals and some illustrations. And I use this often, is capturing that contact form, maybe in a white over a gray background. It flows together, but it just gives it a little bit of border and definition so that this element doesn't get lost. So those are some things I really like about this.
Cool. That's really helpful. And obviously, this is one of the older sites that I've ever worked on. And
Yep.
obviously, I loved it all the work, but we was working with a partner, a project partner. But it's
Yeah.
really interesting to see in hindsight all of the things that could be done to make it more effective, more visually appealing, and also that whole customer journey, helping to what you can change to help guide the customer through their journey of, because really the whole join the sisterhood thing was really only meant to get people onto the email list. Essentially,
Oh, okay. I
I was
gotcha.
I can see that's not doing its job because it's not clear.
I would have thought it was a paid membership product or a community or something like that. So the wording of sisterhood, I think, is great, and just defining what that means to be a part of the tribe.
Like, no, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. So if anybody wanted to reach out to you and get one of those website lookovers, where would they go?
You can go to getcloudworks.com. You can also email me directly. It's jacob@getcloudworks.com. And my commitment to you is that if one of your listeners shoots me an email, would you do a review for me? And I'd be happy to either hop on a quick Zoom call with you like this, or I can send you a Loom video if that's simpler. And I can just hop on your website, be happy to hop on your website, give you 5 minutes of feedback, some ideas, some insights that you could take. If you're doing it yourself, or if you already have a web professional, you could take that to them. I'd be happy to offer that for your listeners. Shoot me an email and I will give you a Loom video of thoughts and insights on your website.
Great. Fantastic. That was really useful. Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me today.
Here's a quick recap of those tips that Jacob shared. Number one, have a clickable logo. Make sure that the logo is clickable to return users to the homepage and so that it enhances the navigation. Number two, fix your broken images. And number three, Make sure that your logo aligns with the menu options at the top for a cleaner, more professional look. Number 4, text adjustments. Make certain that text is larger and consider capitalizing keywords for emphasis. Number 5, icon simplification. Use simpler icons to improve clarity, especially where icons are small, so that they're easier for viewers to interpret. Number 6, have a consistent color scheme. Stick with the site's primary colors all the way through your website, even in areas where you might have used a different color, so that you can create a cohesive visual style. Number 7, have an enhanced call to action. Clearly explain what's going to happen. With my site, it was about taking a quiz and making sure people knew they'd get an infographic. For you, it would be something else. Number 8, organize your content layout. So move your blog articles and key site information higher up on the homepage so that visitors can find important content quickly, and streamline long text sections to provide a concise summary, linking to more detailed pages if needed. Number 9, use a button style for read more links. Use a more visually prominent button style for read more links on blog posts, like pill-shaped or round rectangle buttons to encourage clicks. And number 10, footer space optimization. You can make your footer a bit smaller by reducing the vertical space of what you have there by adjusting the layout, making it full width and left aligned. And there you have it. Thanks for tuning in. If Jacob's insights were helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more. And next up, we'll be looking at a website I bought that's built on a platform I'm not that familiar with, Ghost.io. And it definitely needs some attention, so stay tuned for that review.